have this friend who famously deploys something he likes to call the deny till you die approach. I guess you've heard of that. It's something that's been said before. He'll basically deny something. If he said something like, oh, I didn't do that, it doesn't matter what information is presented to him. He could be shown video evidence. The kid could be on trial. They could have the video of the bank say, well, this is you robbing the bank. And he'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is right there, but I didn't rob any bank. It's the deny till you die approach. And while I find that absolutely hysterical that a fully grown man would utilize that, I would not advise doing that, nor do I want to be associated with that. Which is why I'm going to talk about what I learned last night. The New York Rangers proved to me everything that I had doubts about going into this year, this postseason, you name it. All the things that I talked about before the game yesterday, it was set up perfectly. The Rangers, Game 3, 2-1 lead, third period, the lead was blown. The previous 2 years, Rangers, they folded when that happened because that's a depressing, demoralizing, tying goal at the end of the game. But to come out and win that game, 5-on-5 have you, after taking the 5-on-5 lead in the third period, I will say right to your face, the Rangers deserve to be up 3-0 in this series. They have been the better team. And yes, they are the better team. I had an incorrect assessment about the Carolina Hurricanes being the better team. They showed me everything I need to show. I told you yesterday what my major doubts were, but many times teams have this moment. The Colorado Avalanche were perennial chokers. They could not get out of the second round. They had multiple leads in playoff series, multiple 2-game leads in playoff series, and blew those. Once to the Golden Knights, once to the Stars. And it wasn't until that St. Louis Blues series in the Stanley Cup winning year, they were up 3-1. They were about to close the series out on their own home ice, had a multiple goal lead in that game. They blew it to the Blues, lost in overtime, and then they were going back to St. Louis, and my mind was like, here we go again. And now they're just going to try to rely on a Game 7 home win where anything could happen. They let up the first goal in St. Louis. They came back and won the game with 5 seconds left. They scored the game-winning goal. And that's when I was like, that is what you need to see. I picked them to sweep the Oilers and go to the Stanley Cup. And I saw everything I needed to see from the Rangers this series. The 5-on-5 play. Their stars are continuing to produce where in previous postseasons, guys like Panarin, they cooled off. You didn't see much from them. They've done everything they needed to do, and I am happy to admit it. Now, I am an Islander fan. Don't make me, I'm not going to root for them to win, but I will happily say they have everything they need. Great power play. The penalty kill's been phenomenal. Shesterkin's obviously incredible. And then adding Hedl into that third line, he looked a little dynamic, so they have a little bit of depth now. They have everything they need in their suitcase, so they should finish out this series, and then they got 2 series left if they want to win a cup. Like I said, don't ask me to root for it, but I will happily say they have turned that corner, and they've done the things that these previous Rangers teams didn't do. So good luck to you. I'm not rooting for you, but I will happily admit they have been the better team, and they currently are the better team for the rest of this series, no matter how many more games it goes. You happy? I always told you. I got friends, family members, Rangers fans. I'm happy. I saw what I need to see from them. I now group them into those teams who can win. That's what winners do. On the road, demoralizing, depressing situation, unfazed by it, come out, win at 5-on-5 in overtime against a team like Carolina. So good for the Rangers, and we'll see what happens with them the rest of the way. Now, in that other series, how hilarious are these Avalanche? This is not supposed to happen. Now, they lost the game, but to be down 4-0 against a 1 seed after being down 3-0 and winning a game, the fact that they were on the power play with 2 minutes left to tie the game, what a crazy team to watch. The casual hockey fans, people who started watching hockey, you guys are probably loving that. And we were able to snake our little side bet there, the over 2.5 goals for Colorado with the over 2.5 shots for Tyler Seguin. So that was a nice little deli slice there to end the night with. And now tonight we got 2 games on our hands. We got a game 3 and a game 2. Let's start with that game 2 because we have some variables, some interesting factors on the Oilers side to discuss. Last game I mentioned that Adam Henrique, he wasn't available and he was playing on the top line and it was kind of operating pretty effectively. He missed game 1. They obviously lost game 1, but the bigger story, Leon Draisaitl left that game for a chunk, came back, didn't look comfortable, didn't practice, and now they're saying he's going to play. Like we see his props listed. But are we going to get that hobbled Draisaitl from 2 years ago? Remember him? I don't know, but that definitely has a major impact on this series when you think about how filthy that power play has been. And yes, you don't need a perfect back to sit off to the side where Draisaitl does and blast in a couple one-timers. But the one thing that I did say about this series was I felt like it was going to be more at Edmonton's pace. I compared it to the series 2 years ago when Edmonton played defensive Calgary, and that kind of played out in game 1. It was a 5-4 game. I have no problem going back to the over 2.5 goals for the Vancouver Canucks. I think this series is going to provide multiple opportunities to take some of the Canucks that we were scared to take. But you want to know who I kind of like? A guy on the power play, and his line has been playing well for 2 series, and he has a couple points. Huge bust in terms of deadline deals, and that's Elias Lindholm. I'm going to take his point for plus 110 in this game against the Oilers. And then with this whole Draisaitl situation and the Oilers being down 1-0 in this series, I don't know if it ended this way, but with a minute left, Connor McDavid was about to have 0 shots for the first time throughout his entire playoff career. So if you're telling me that Draisaitl is going to be limited and maybe Henrique is going to be limited or not play at all, then I think Connor McDavid is going to have to shoulder more of the burden. I think for the first time in his playoff career, he was held to 0 shots. I don't know if he got one in the last minute, but I think in this game, he's going to have to shoulder more of the burden with those injuries. And the Oilers are down 1-0 in this series, so I want to take the over 3.5 shots on goal for plus money for Connor McDavid as the Oilers look to even this series against the Vancouver Canucks. And then in the earlier game, we got a game 3 with Boston coming back to their home ice. Series is tied at 1. Florida absolutely went off in the second half of that last game, and there was all sorts of brawls. One thing that I noticed in that game, we're going to have to wave farewell, a sad farewell, to the Vlad Tarasenko prop because they did some line juggling, and they reunited Barkov, Reinhart, and Tarasenko. And while Reinhart and Barkov produced a ton in the first round and Tarasenko just didn't, they're going back to it because I guess it provided a little juice at the end of the last game. But I'll still take those first 2 guys because Barkov's playing absolutely incredible. Give me Reinhart and Barkov both for a point. Put them together. That's plus 105. That's something that I'm kind of happy to take. And I also want to take the over on saves for Sergei Bobrovsky. I think it's set at 24.5. I like taking the over on saves for the road goalie in every team's first game because when you come home and you have that juice from the home crowd, I always feel like the first period, like look at Carolina, look how many shots they pumped on net in the first period. You use the juice of that home crowd. And honestly, the second half of that game, it looked like Boston kind of mailed in. They had that 7-game series. They won game 1. Once they went down halfway through game 2 by a couple of goals, they kind of lollygagged out there. I would imagine they come out hard in this first game. And if you're showing me a total of 24.5, that can be attained without some crazy shot output. 24.5 is not the craziest thing. And you'd imagine Boston has a pretty good effort after they kind of fell asleep in the second half of that last game. So I'll take the over 24.5 saves for Sergei Bobrovsky. And that's what I have for you here on a Friday. Good luck to you. I don't know. Do you need any more? I know a ton of you took the Rangers, so you must be sitting pretty right now. Better luck to me. I need it. You want to know what would be great for my luck? If you did me a favor and you like these videos, you comment, you engage with them, and you subscribe to the channel and click the notification so you know when a new video comes out. Unless you hate all this stuff. The all caps screamer, I don't know what the hell they're doing here. If there was a party in my town and I hated everybody and I hated what they were talking about and I hated what was on the TV and I hated the food selection, I would never go by there. I would never chime in. I would just never be there talking to anybody or interacting. That's what's fascinating about the all caps Gargoyles. They come to a place they hate to do it. So what do? Do you then go to the next video? If it's an old clip of Baywatch, do you get it? What an awful clip of Baywatch. Who would pick this clip of Baywatch? You know what? That's like a Making a Murderer Netflix series, inside the mind of a YouTube gargoyle. Coming to you soon at a theater near you. Anyway, that's what I got for you. I will be back with you on Monday. As always, join the rest of the Ranger fans because there are a ton of them on the Patreon. Like I said, I don't mind. I have friends, family members, Islander fans, Ranger fans. I don't care. I'm happy to say when they're good, they are very good. They've done everything they need. I would be extremely excited if I was a Rangers fan, especially after seeing that game last night. Congratulations, but don't expect me to root for you. I'll see you on Monday.